Welcome, welcome. So, I'm sure you get a lot of questions. What's with the mask? What's with the voice changer? What the hell's going on here? So, I decided to make this channel, name it FU Central, kind of a joke with the intentions of parodying some of the media. Just because what we get now is absolutely ridiculous. I don't think most of it represents actual people. And I think that's a problem. I think what we have here, let me try switching this. I'm completely new to this whole stream thing, um, but I'm going to give it a shot. So, give me 1 second. It's up here. Okay. Oh, that's wrong. Here we go. So this is the way I look at the media right now. We have a circle. And then, let's pretend this part of the circle is normal. The brush should be a little bit bigger than that. Okay. Here's everyday, middle of the road people. Down here is extreme people. So you take all the people on the right, and it's usually the loudest ones. They're down here, they're people like Nick Fuentes, or, that kind of group. They say the most outrageous thing. A lot of them do it to grift, just for the clicks. But then there are people that are genuine down in that camp, that part of the camp. And then, so let's go extreme art. Then on the other side of things, you have the people that are so far extreme on the left. And again, same thing with them. They're usually the loudest voices. And I'm going to bring up some examples of each, just so you guys can see. So let's start with people on the right. You have places like Fox News, Daily Wire, um, Eddie Johnson, Tim Pool, Laura Southern, all of those, Matt Walsh, Ben Shapiro. Well, he's part of Daily Wire, so it's encompassing, I guess. But then you have corporate media too, like Fox News, Newsmax, all that. Yes, I lumped them all together, but I did that for a purpose because they all have the same message. The extreme of the right is now the majority of the people. Uh, the hate, the bigotry, the insanity has all been normalized. And they're going all in on it. Then you have people on the left who would be people like, let's take Hassan, for example. Some of the things he says is somewhat correct. Some of it is correct. But then he has pet issues or niche issues that are not only not correct, they're completely batshit insane. And I noticed that if you disagree with him on any of those issues, it becomes a problem. And you get ostracized and kicked out of the little in group. That's a major issue. So you got people on the extreme left over here. let's use trans as an example. Now, I completely support trans people. I completely support their rights. Support everything about it. Just about everything. You have people on the left talking about that issue a little bit. Then you have people on the right pushing that issue majorly. And then you had Kamala, who was running, who didn't run on that issue, but like 60 or 70% of the people um, thought she was running on that issue, even though that she didn't, which is absolutely insane to me. Because at that point, if that's what happens, it doesn't matter. Um, if she even did run on the issue. It's just because of the media representation that's happened right now. Right now, the right, they just completely control uh, and dominate the media presence, whether that's on YouTube, Twitter, pretty much everywhere. They control. So you get a lot of people who really don't pay attention to politics or don't pay attention to those things, kind of get sucked in. And, they just open up their phone and, oh, look, Biden did this. All the trans people are out to get our kids. That's just ridiculous. But that's what happens. So we have to fight back against that. And that's why I'm asking the question, what's wrong with the left? There's a myriad of problems. And like I've heard, oh, the left needs a Joe Rogan. The left can't have a Joe Rogan because the left overly criticizes itself and holds itself to a standard that just doesn't exist in reality for anyone else. So they would effectively cancel that Rogan before we could have our Rogan. Rogan wasn't intentional with his. Well, let me rephrase that. He's completely intentional with supporting Donald Trump, but he done that for cash, and it's like pretty obvious because he used to be for Bernie and whatever, and then he started spreading a bunch of misinformation and going balls deep in insanity, I guess. But he's doing it for the cash. So, anyways, you take all of those media organizations, and then you got to ask yourself, what do they gain? So, if you're talking podcasters and influencers, you can look at places like Tenet Media, that was basically a front for Russia, that were paying MAGA talking heads to say what they wanted to say. Now, frankly, I think those people should be charged because they knew, what they were doing. And they're still doing it, whether Russia's paying them or not. Then you get places like Fox News that lost the largest defamation case in U.S. history for knowingly lying about election fraud and the ballot counting misinformation. They did that. They knew about it. Newsmax did it too. Uh, they just recently settled, I believe, with Smartmatic. Um, they knew that what they were saying wasn't true. There were emails about it. The CEOs tried to delete it and hide it. We know that. We know all these things. We can go fact check it, Google it. That's one big thing that I want to do here too is back up the truth with facts. And no matter the issue, like I could be right, I could be wrong. Again, I'm just a blue collar dude. I'm fucking half stupid on a lot of things, but I'm not completely stupid. And we're gonna look this up. We're gonna look it up together. We're gonna go through it together and see And that's all we can do. Gotta learn the truth. Gotta use critical thinking skills. Scientific method. How do we figure out what is what? That's what we gotta do. That's what everyone should do. That's the way we should be taught from when we're little kids. That's just my personal opinion, anyways. And apologize, I got a cold. So, anyways, you take all these things, and what ends up happening is, like I said, you got two extremes on each side. Each one is the loudest. Usually represents the minority, but on the right, no, the minority is the majority. So that's all you hear. And you got to look at those companies. Like I said, Russian media paying pro MAGA people. You look at Fox News, you know they're pro corporate. They support corporate. Daily Wire, where did they get their funding from? Who funds the Daily Wire? Let me drag this over. Let's take a look. After the duo secured several $1 million in seed funding from billionaire petroleum industry brothers Dan and Ferris Wilks, the Daily Wire was launched in 2015. So, they just got a ton of money from fossil fuel industry to say what they say. It's kind of funny to me that like we can look at things like the Daily Wire, we can look at Russia paying MAGA talking heads, we can look at all those things. Fox News, Newsmax, see these large corporations supporting the interests of large corporations, and then be like, yeah, they're for the little guy. No, they're not. You know that they're not. For all of the conspiracies that are on the right, you gotta pump the brakes there, Chief. Okay? Pump the brakes and take a look at what you're actually supporting. Donald Trump has what, 9 billionaires in his upcoming cabinet? You're gonna tell me that Elon Musk didn't make money? You know, he spent, what was it, 150, $200 million supporting Donald Trump, giving him all that publicity and all that stuff on Twitter. And then the first day that we find out that Donald Trump's going to be elected, what happens? Elon Musk makes $60 billion. And you're telling me he has no interest in our government except to help the middle class? Are you serious? I mean, really? The only thing that dude and all those people want to do, I think, would be go in there, gut everything, take all the funding out, and then privatize all of those systems so that they can make even more money. Then you take people like Donald Trump who says, oh, import tariffs, they're great. It's like, what? Who pays the import tariff? The company that produces, that imports and then produces a product. Do you think that all these companies are just going to take a loss on their overhead for that? No, they're going to pass that on to the consumer. Then the consumer pays more. You're talking about the price of eggs? What's tariff Canada, 25%? What do you think is going to happen to the price of eggs? Because, like, what is it? 60% of the eggs in the United States come from Canada? Something like that? Let's look it up. What? Whoops. Percentage of eggs, uh, egg totals comes from the USA and Canada. It's about time there, bud. Share of egg production there. Top 3 in the 2019 day. Take a look at that there. If it's going to tell me. USA, Department of Agriculture. Other states, 67. Oh, this is egg production. Top 3. Uh, Fertilized. Yeah. I don't want to know just the United States production. I want to know how much comes from another country. Majority of eggs come from China. 59%. Uh, what percentage of eggs come from Canada? I'm asking the wrong question here is what's going on. How many eggs does the USA import from Canada? $118 million, $50 million. Okay, so this isn't as big of an issue as I thought, but it still is an issue. Point is that no matter what we're importing, it's going to cost more for that imported item. So if you go to Walmart and buy something from China and then there's a tax on China, it still might be cheaper for the company to produce in China and then add the tax, and it's still cheaper than trying to manufacture it here in the United States. And you're going to pay more. Is that going to hurt the billionaires? Is that going to hurt the millionaires? No. It's going to hurt the low income. It's going to hurt middle income Americans. Every little bit all adds up. That's a problem. So that's problem one. And back to what I was saying is if he tariffs everything, it's only going to hurt the middle class and low class. Then he wants to give corporations more tax breaks. So when he went to stock market the other day, he stood there with the owner of Time magazine and put him on the cover, and he said, I'm going to cut the rates down even more. We're going to make it so that instead of 22% that you're currently paying, we're going to bring that down to, I think he said 15%. So let's take a look at that. All that's going to do is cut their tax rate. They're not going to have to pay as much. That money's going to have to come from somewhere. Whether where they're going to get that, I don't know. But it's basically allowing companies to like double dip. And why should Americans be subsidizing these companies? Like, I think it was Walmart, the grocery store part of it, is like the largest grocery store, technically. And people, okay, let's just do it this way. Oh, yeah, that's an article I was reading about Trump threatening anyone who disagrees. Funny coming from the champions of free speech. How dare you criticize me or we'll throw you in prison. Okay, so Google. Um, who is the largest grocery store USA? Walmart. They had the largest market share, 23%, generated 441 billion in sales, with about 59% of that coming from food and groceries. So you figure like 60% of 441 billion. Yeah, I don't know. It's over like $200 billion. So do you think by cutting the tax rate for billion-dollar companies that Walmart is going to start cutting your grocery prices? Because I don't think so. I think they're just going to pocket more of that money, like they've been doing for the past few years. That's the problem. We're giving all the subsidies and all the help to the companies when we should be helping other Americans. And then we see things like the United Health CEO getting, well, you guys know what happened. And you take things like that, people from both sides were freaking out. I think Ben Shapiro made a video, CNN, other people, and they were happy about it, they were joking about it. And then all these corporate interests are just, how dare you? How dare you be so upset? How dare you be clapping and happy that this dude allegedly denied all these claims and killed all these people? How dare you be mad at that? Like, really? Yeah, it's not a good thing that the dude was killed, but it's not a good thing that companies are allowed to run unchecked and stomp and suck the life force out of everyone that's on the bottom or in the middle. That is what's absurd. And that's what's happening. Trump surrounded himself with 9 other billionaires. They're just going to gut everything, privatize everything, and ruin our institutions. It's, now I'm going to say this, just to be fair. I hope Donald Trump does the best he can for all Americans. Do I think he's gonna? No. Um, I think that's very self-evident, and you shouldn't be surprised. And I think that's what's going on with a lot of the people too. You see, like, Trump was horrible. We had the pandemic. They voted him out. Biden did a few good things, but he didn't do enough change for people to really feel it. And how would you that quick? But people didn't vote for Kamala. They don't want more of the same. They went back to Trump because they had the memory of a goldfish and think that he's going to help you. No, he's not fighting for you. He's fighting for billionaires. You just voted against your own interests, and I'm not sure if you know it. So, but my point is that people recognize there's a problem. They just don't know where the problem is. Not enough people pay attention enough to really know where that is. You get the lower information voter that doesn't immerse themselves in this insanity. Um, I tend to, but like I know a lot of people that, oh well, Trump's a good guy and this and that. They just have no clue of anything that he's actually done and what he's intending to do. With Project 2025 and all that, it's not good, man. It's not good, and I think we have to bond together and lighten up. Personally, the Democratic Party needs to lighten up. Uh, the way the party works is there's coalitions of different groups. So we're not just one united group like the right. No matter what happens, they back Trump. They don't care. They're supporting it all. Even if they disagree, yeah, they'll support Trump, which is cult behavior. And I'm not saying we need to be a cult, but We have to let some of the things go. Because what you see on the Democrat side is you have one little group, they have their issue. You have another group with an issue, another group with an issue. Biden might come into office, address one to two of those issues, or start to address those issues, and nothing really changes enough for everyone to see a difference. So then they kind of don't support it. But then you also have influencers and talking heads that are like, well, that candidate doesn't support my issue 100% to my little niche specific way of thinking, so I'm not going to support them back. Then all of their followers don't support. And you have these little pockets. Like everyone's media is becoming so personalized that you have little group, little group, little group, little group. And they all kind of disagree. So if 5 or 6 influencers have, say, 1 million people in each little group, and for whatever reason they're mad at the current candidate, they're not going to back that candidate, then their followers don't back that candidate. Some might, but some not. There's always a percentage of loss. That's an issue. Just the whole media landscape is an issue right now that we have to address and find some way to do that, among other things. But I just wanted to make this video to get started because I've never done this before. Again, I'd appreciate it if you people like come in, stop by. We'll all work together. We can talk about specific topics. One thing I do want to do is I want to address the mask. Whole reason I wear the mask, I'll tell you a little story. So I'm from a very rural area, and over the summer, I I believe I was going to the store. So I walk out of my house, and we hang a gay pride flag on our porch, just because. Like I'm straight, my wife is bi, but I mean, we got kids together, everything. It's kind of cool. Like we can sit down and be like, "Oh, well, I think she's hot," and my wife will be like, "Yeah, I don't know. I think she's hotter or whatever." Kind of cool. It works. What we got works. Anyways, I walked out of the house, and there's this dude that mows lawns, and he was mowing the neighbor's lawn, and he had his son with him. That's all he does for work. So I walked out of my house. He was standing there with his son, staring at me, and I could see him look at me, look at the flag, look back at me, clicked his heels together, and did Zig Heil. Him and his son. As soon as he like clicked his heels, the little boy was just like, "Go." And I was mind blown. So again, reason why I wear this is I come from a very small, very rural area. And if anyone watched this video that I knew personally, it, like I'm not too, like I'm not afraid. It would just make things hellish. And I just don't want to deal with that. You know, the online stuff, I can take all of that and fine with the criticisms. That's how you learn. That's how you get better. That's how I'm going to get better at doing this. You know, just by doing it and talking and taking the criticism. You know, I'm sure I'm going to get some bull crap from a bunch of different people, but especially on the left, the people on the left don't like to hear themselves be criticized. You know, I just think we have to recognize these issues to be able to change these issues. And we're going to keep doing the same goddamn thing. And I don't want us to keep doing the same goddamn thing. I want us to win. And to win, we're going to have to do something different. Uh, we get to combat the media narrative. We get to fight back. Because, I mean, like, I think America's worth, like, saving, and, like, we're pretty much in an oligarchy right now, but we still have some power to get it back, and we're gonna have to do that together. And, yeah, that's about it. Catch you guys later.